Okay, so now we're going to go on to question 2. All right, so we're going to do part A for each problem, and then we're going to do part B for each problem, and part C for each problem. Okay, so let's start off with f of x equals 3x minus 2x plus 12. Okay, so part A simply asks for the leading coefficient and the degree. So the leading coefficient is this number right here, which is 3. And we know it's degree 2 because if I multiplied it out, it'd be x squared. Okay, we'll do the second one. F of x equals negative 2x squared minus 1. Okay, we're just doing part A. Alright, so we know the leading coefficient is negative 2. We know the degree will be degree 4, because if I multiply this out, it'll be x squared times x squared, which is x to the 4th. So we know the degree is 4. Okay, this final one, g of t, I'm going to write it as negative 100t cubed plus 25t. So I just wrote it around the other way around, and I kept the negative with the correct term. So we can see immediately that the leading coefficient is negative 100. And we know that the degree is 3. Okay. All right, this will be the hardest one to do at the end, so we'll worry about that later. So let's go back and answer question B. So we want to know what the end behavior is. So the leading coefficient is 3, the degree is 2, this is positive, so it's up, up. The leading coefficient is negative, it's an even degree, so it's down, down. The leading coefficient is negative, it's odd degree, so the leading coefficient is up, down. Remember, you're allowed a note card, so you can write these facts down on your note card. All right, so now for the part C, which is asking for the zeros and how they behave. All right, so if it's factored, it's easy. So let's have a look. This 0 right here that goes with this factor is plus 2. This 0 that goes with this factor is negative 12. Since the factor only occurs once, because it's got a power of 1 here, that means its multiplicity is 1. And this multiplicity is 1. If it has an odd multiplicity, it crosses through the graph. So both the graph crosses through both zeros. Okay? All right, now we'll go do this one. All right, so we'll look at the zeros. So the zeros go with the factors. So the 0 that goes with this one is 0. Many students forget that. Its multiplicity is 2 because it occurs twice. M2 for multiplicity 2. All right, this one can be factored as x minus 1, x plus 1. And we know that from our CPM classes that we've taken. We know how to factor. All right, so the 0 that goes with that is 1. And the 0 that goes with that one is negative 1. And both of these only occur once, so their multiplicity is 1. So the graph crosses through the multiplicity 1 zeros, which are 1 and negative 1, and then turns at x equals 0. Okay. All right, we're almost done. Now we're going to do the hard part. All right, so the hard part's over here. All right, so first of all, let's factor out let's factor out a common term here. All right, so before we can answer it. So I know that I can actually take this function, and I know that negative 25t factors out of both of these. So negative 25t, which will give me negative 4t squared, sorry, plus 4t squared, I can't divide, minus 1. Okay, so if I multiply this out, negative 25t times 4t squared is negative 100t cubed, and negative 25t times minus 1 is positive 25t. All right, and this can factor again because it's a difference of squares, so it's 2t minus 1 times 2t plus 1, negative 25t. Okay, Good. So we get a 0 from this one, and a 0 from this one, and a 0 from this one. So the 0 from this is t equals 0, and its multiplicity 1. The 0 from this one, if you set it equal to 0 and solve, will give you t equals a half. The 0 from this one, when you set it equal to 0 and solve, will give you 2 equals negative a half. Both of them only occur once, so it's multiplicity 1. So on this one right here, the graph crosses through 0, a half, and negative a half. Because the multiplicities are 1. And that is it for question 2.